The following segments are pre-recorded and sponsored by Longworth Productions.
Clean energy on Triad Today. Hello everyone, I'm Jim Longworth and welcome to another edition of Triad Today, coming to you from the Senior Botanical Garden in Kernersville. We'll tell you more about them later on, and later on is when the roundtable shows up, and we will get into all sorts of controversies with those folks, so stay tuned for that. But between now and then, some great guests, important information coming your way, including a discussion about advanced cardiac care, that and much more. But we want to start with a first-time visitor to the program. We're so glad she's here, and she has some great information for us, some news to report as well. Beth Patanzo is Senior Vice President of Instruction at GTCC. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
I understand that you guys at GTCC made an exciting announcement recently. The governor was in attendance. Tell me all about that.
Yes, it was very exciting. We've been working with all of the incoming businesses, including the one people have been hearing an awful lot about, which is Toyota Battery Manufacturing. And we successfully competed to be the educational provider for their training program for all of their maintenance technicians.
Wow.
And so we were selected, and we were able to announce it the other day.
Now this is a long name, so correct me if I get any of it wrong, but Aaron sent me an email about it. The Federation of Advanced Manufacturing Education, which goes by the acronym of FAME.
Correct.
That's a pretty neat thing that you're involved in, right? I mean, and why is it unique? Because I think there's different chapters around, but you're the only one around, or what?
Yeah, we are the only chapter in North Carolina. There's 36 other chapters, and basically they are groups of employers who really want to provide a work-based learning experience so that they can try out employees in their facilities, and they can have a say-so in the type of training that they receive. And so the program is very structured and has a technical component, a professional behaviors component, and what we call a lean manufacturing component.
Wow. So this is kind of a new thing, because I mean, GTCC for years has been helping folks learn skills, go to great jobs, be sensitive to the needs of manufacturers, but this sort of takes it to a whole new level, doesn't it?
It really does. There's a lot of uniqueness about the program in terms of who is attracted into it, the students that apply, to the relationships with industry in terms of that work-based component. It's huge. They come to school 2 days a week. They go to work 3 days a week and practice what they learn.
Well, you mentioned, put you on the spot, you mentioned the students. What kind of student would be attracted to this, do you think?
So, there's going to be a lot of different people because of the excitement of having Toyota come into our area, but it's students who are really STEM focused, who really have an interest in science, mathematics, technology, because this is really advanced technology.
Right.
It isn't your old thought about what a manufacturing environment is. Very, very high tech. And so that's the type of student that I would encourage to apply into the program.
Well, we talk about businesses and Toyota primarily, but now this is going to be a benefit to all sorts of businesses in the area, right?
Correct. There's right now 5 companies that have signed on and are part of our FAME First in Flight chapter. There's other employers that are considering joining and sponsoring students in the program. So it's going to benefit all of them, definitely.
A great boon to, of course, we already, as you mentioned, Toyota, and we've got other great companies that have come in here. But what you're doing, I think it's just exciting because it really becomes a draw for new companies to come in too, right?
Yeah, it does. I think the national mark that FAME has, it's across the country. The fact that we now have that in North Carolina is going to only draw more companies to our area.
I congratulate you and GTCC. This is just fantastic. Up on screen, gtcc.edu is the general website, and you can go through the portal and that find out all sorts of great things. Beth, what a great honor that you're spearheading this thing, and it's going to do a lot of good for a lot of folks and help the economy grow. Will you come back sometime?
I would love to come back.
And by the way, off camera, I learned that she graduated high school on the Las Vegas Strip. I'm not going to explain what that means, but when she comes back, we'll explain it. We'll be right back after this.
Let GTCC help you take your next career step. Guilford Technical Community College. Make amazing happen.
Need help buying food? Everyone needs help sometimes. Food Nutrition Services may be able to help you buy food and free up your money for other expenses, such as utilities and medicine. To receive F&S assistance, households must meet income limits. You may be able to get assistance even if you own a home, car, land, property, or have a retirement plan or money in the bank. Second Harvest Food Bank of Northwest North Carolina team members can help you with the application process over the phone. To receive help or if you have any questions, call 336-422-7758.
Back now on Triad Today, and we have a special guest with us. First-time visitor to the show, but he's been known in this area for a long time for his great work that he does in emergency departments and elsewhere. We're with Ricky Harrell. He's Director of Emergency Services at Northern Regional Hospital up in Mount Airy. Good to see you, sir.
Thanks for having me.
Let's talk about, since we're sort of still in the February Heart Month theme, let me just go at it this way. First of all, in an emergency room, emergency department, do you see a lot of cardiac attack cases or cardiac incidents?
Unfortunately, we do. Probably the majority of our people that come in have some complaint related to the heart or heart systems.
Right.
But a large majority of them are.
Now, why is heart health so important? I know it sounds like a stupid question, but for people of all ages, I guess, especially as you get older, why is it important?
It is. February is Heart Health Month. It probably should be every month of the year, though, if you think about it. But
I agree.
Heart disease, #1 killer of adults in the United States, kills more people than all the cancers combined. And the one thing with heart disease is it's largely preventable. Now, after you have it, you can't reverse it, but you can prevent a lot of it. So out of those 2,300 or so people that die every day from heart disease, about 80% of them could have been prevented.
Good Lord. Now, what are the symptoms of a heart attack?
The symptoms of heart attack, they range. There's a big range, actually. The classic symptoms you hear are chest pain. They feel pressure in their chest. They feel squeezing. People will say, I got an elephant sitting on my chest. I feel like I had a vice. They could have nausea, vomiting along with it. They can get some respiratory distress and get short of breath.
Now, I know here we are two guys talking, but is it the same for women?
Unfortunately not. Women are totally different. The majority of women present with what's called atypical pain. They don't have the classic squeezing of the chest, short of breath, nausea, vomiting. They can complain with some vague symptoms, and a lot of times women will not present like it's as important. They feel like, well, I have pain in my neck, my jaw hurts, I have pain in my upper back.
And then they don't do anything about it.
And they don't do anything about it. They don't think heart attack. They kind of desynthesize what's going on with them.
Well, what are some of the risk factors that we should avoid that maybe contribute to having heart problems?
So the risk factors, they're kind of broken up into two things. Some you can't do anything about. If your father died from a heart attack, his brothers died from heart, your grandpa, you can't do anything about that.
It's in the genes.
It's in your genes. Smoking, #1 thing. Smoking kills more people than anything, but smoking is the easiest preventable thing. Obesity, bad diet choices, sedentary lifestyle, a lot of those risk factors are easily correctable.
Right.
Just a few are not, but high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes, and things like that.
What kind of cardiac services does Northern Regional Hospital offer to people?
We offer preventative care. We do regular checkups, visits for people with cardiac care. We offer a wide diagnosis or a wide range of diagnosis for cardiac stuff. We do stress tests, treadmill stress tests. We do nuclear stress tests. We do
really try to look at what the test results are and sort of determine if somebody's really having an incident or if they're at risk or whatever. It's going to give you the whole range.
And a lot of times that's what it is. They come in, we have to admit them, and they get that workup for 24 hours to get those tests and rule out that they're not having a heart attack.
Right. Oh, well, we just have a few seconds left. What do you say to somebody that said, well, I feel a little bit bad, but I'm not going to go to the ER? What do you say?
If it's involving your chest, you think it could be a heart attack, discomfort, go to the emergency department. You call 911.
It's better be safe than sorry on that.
Better safe than sorry.
I hope you'll come back sometime. I want to find out about your background. You've been around doing stuff and helping people for so long, and I appreciate what you do. For more information, visit choosenorthern.org. That's choosenorthern.org. Please check that out. Rick, appreciate you being here.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
All right. We'll be right back.
You know, it's hard to believe the Safe Sober program has been going strong for over 30 years.
And over 600,000 students have made the pledge to stay safe and sober on prom night. You know, Griff, it's had a huge impact on our community.
Yeah, you're right, David. And now we're making sure the message continues year-round.
So everyone can join us in supporting our students.
Learn more and take the pledge at safesober.com, sponsored by Daggett Schuler.
Let GTCC help you take your next career step. Guilford Technical Community College. Make amazing happen.
Back now on Triad Today, and with me, our good friend from Duke Energy, Hank Henning, is here. He's manager of local government and community relations for Duke Energy. Welcome back to the show, sir.
Thanks, Jim. Always a pleasure to join you.
Last year, we talked a lot about, you and I and Jimmy and some of us talked about the carbon plan, you know, the carbon emissions and that kind of thing, and how, you know, we're going to try to phase out of the coal business and that kind of thing. What exactly does the North Carolina Utilities Commission plan call for? Can you explain that to me?
Yeah, it's a great question. So on December 30th, the North Carolina Utilities Commission issued their order laying out kind of the roadmap to get to 70% carbon reduction by 2030 and 100% by 2050. So a couple important points that I'd like your audience to know as well as our customers. So in the plan, they made it clear that affordability and reliability are hallmarks of the goals that we want to make sure we achieve while we're on the path towards carbon neutrality. So the Utilities Commission in their order stated that reliability is a non-negotiable issue when it comes to the grid. And also affordability, they define that by seeking the lowest cost solution available to get to net neutrality. And I think as a reminder, so the order from the Utilities Commission came out of House Bill 951, which was passed by large bipartisan margins signed by the governor in 2021. And so this is the first iteration of that to basically show us the roadmap to get there.
Yeah, and it's nice to know, I mean, so many people agreed in this era of politics when people don't disagree, that they're sort of coming together and saying, hey, we need to do something about clean energy. Let me ask you now, we didn't rehearse this or anything, but I'm just wondering, as we start to reduce carbon emissions, like you said, by 2050, we want to get it to be 100%. Does that mean that on the way to that I can't use other sources of energy? I mean, help me with that.
So it's a great question. So a very important piece of the order is the Utility Commission taking what we call, or they call it, all of the above approach. So that means instead of honing in on one technology over another, again, they want us to look at all the available technologies so we can really focus on reliability and affordability. So by what I mean by all the above, that includes nuclear, natural gas, battery storage, pumped hydro storage, solar and wind. So looking at all of those and how growing some of those and expanding some of that we already have and investing in new technologies, how's that going to impact reliability? And again, going to the lowest cost solution available.
Now, how often will the carbon plan be checked and adjusted? I mean, I think people will be interested to know that once this thing sort of starts to phase in, how are we going to keep track of things?
No, great question again. So House Bill 951 I mentioned, in there it requires a review take place every 2 years, because as you know, as you're going through these things, new information and new data is going to become available. So it kind of allows us to do a reset or make adjustments where we need to be, again, with the reliability and affordability and lowest cost aspects of it. And, you know, as technologies grow, just like battery storage, you know, maybe we can hit the gas on those a little bit.
Right.
There are new nuclear technologies that are coming available as well. So
things change, you're going to be able to adapt to it.
Yeah, so that's a really, really great part of this, that it allows that review process to take place.
You probably already answered this very quickly. I mean, what are you prioritizing as far as your position with Duke Energy? What are you going to try to prioritize in this plan? Just the reliability angle of it, or what?
Well, the Utilities Commission was very clear that we always need to consider, as we're going to through the clean energy transition, consider reliability and affordability, those low cost measures that are there and technologies that are available. So the next steps for us we're going to look at our existing generating plants. We have an existing workforce there. We have existing equipment. We're going to look into things like nuclear and new solar and stuff like that, see about expanding those. And it also helps a lot of the local economies.
Absolutely.
So if you think about it, expands the tax base, expands the workforce.
Absolutely.
And when companies come in, it also helps them achieve their sustainability goals.
Yeah, helps us to attract great companies too. Up on screen, duke-energy.com is the general website. Hope you will check that out for more information. Hank, thanks for bringing us up to speed on the new regs.
Thank you so much.
All right, we'll be right back after this.
No matter the challenges, we were there.
Whatever the struggles, we were there.
And as the sun comes out, bringing the promise of a brighter tomorrow, we will still be here.
We're Duke Energy, and we're building a smarter energy future for you.
Hi, I'm Jim Longworth, reminding you to catch my column Longworth at Large and Yes Weekly every week. It's available throughout the Triad, or you can go online, yesweekly.com. Back now on Triad Today, and we welcome to the show someone who's been a visitor with us many times before, but we hadn't seen her in a while, so we're glad she's back. Christy Sharpa is Vice President of Practice Management at Mountain Valley Hospice and Palliative Care. Welcome back, my friend.
Thank you.
And belated Happy New Year, because I hadn't seen you since
Thank you, same to
last
you.
year. Before we get started with the main topic, we're going to talk about advanced cardiac care, but before we do that, just for folks at home that maybe just moved in the area or something, what's the mission of hospice? Who do you serve, and how wide an area do you serve?
Our mission is to serve patients who are facing an end-of-life journey, perhaps 6 months or less, to help them have holistic care for comfort and dignity, and to support their families as well. We at Mountain Valley serve 2 states, Virginia and North Carolina, 18 counties.
Wow.
Too many to list, but certainly,
Right.
Deep throughout North Carolina.
I will put the website up later, and people can look and see all the counties and everything. And of course, you operate 2 full hospice homes as well, and that's because a lot of people get hospice care in home, which I've done with my parents before. But you can also go to the hospice home. All right, what is advanced cardiac care? What's that program about?
Well, it's a program kind of housed within our hospice program. So it's for hospice patients. And we kind of wanted to recognize the fact that heart disease is the leading cause of death in America still, unfortunately. Men, women, all ethnic groups, races are affected by this. So it's really widespread, and folks with heart disease have a lot of symptom burden, meaning shortness of breath, pain, discomfort, loss of life quality. And that's where hospice really shines, is to treat patients and get them as comfortable as possible. So we were kind of missing that patient population among hospice patients. Maybe folks don't realize that advanced heart disease, hospice is for you too. They might think, oh, it's only for cancer or things like that.
Right.
So there's a lot of misunderstandings, in the community about hospice. So it's a way for us to reach a population of folks who probably really need us.
Yeah, and now who would, or I was going to say who would qualify, and how would they qualify to know that they can come in and receive advanced cardiac care?
Yeah, they may hear about it from their cardiologist, or even really from the community, maybe from this show, but it would be patients who have unknown advanced heart disease in this case, who are seeing their doctor, and they're probably optimized on what the physician can offer with medications, but they're still maybe in and out of the ER with shortness of breath or chest pain, and just having more symptom burden, and life quality is becoming a bigger issue.
Right. So you're really sort of filling in the gaps and helping with that whole condition and being there for them when they have these chronic and acute.
A big key is, keeping them at home. No one wants to be in and out of the hospital if they don't have to, or if we can minimize that a little bit.
Right, and that's a big benefit to patients, isn't it? To have that comfort level, to know that you have a whole team that's devoted to this, and so they know the people coming in and helping them, and it's got to be a big benefit to not just the patient, but to their caregivers and the families, right?
It is, yeah. I think, something real common for heart failure patients is getting suddenly very short of breath and full of fluid, which sends them to the ER, but we can keep medication right in the home, send a nurse right over, and give that medication, and it works very quickly, and then they usually can stay home. And that's just very comforting to patients.
I just think it's a great service that you're doing that it was been much needed for a long time. Now, I'm going to put up the website and a phone number. You correct me if any of this is wrong, but mtnvalleyhospice.org is the website, and then 888-789-2922 is the basic number, and they can go through there on the portal to call you or whatever to find out more about it, right?
Absolutely, and it's always our honor to receive these referrals and care for people.
Christy, I appreciate all you do, my friend.
Thank you so much.
We'll be right back after this. Hi, I'm Jim Longworth, reminding you that Triad Today is now streaming on WFMY Plus, available free on Roku and Amazon Fire TV.
Every cookie sold in the Girl Scout Cookie Program helps girls learn lifelong lessons in people skills, decision making, money management, goal setting, and business ethics. It's amazing how much you can learn from a cookie. The Girl Scout Cookie Program. Think outside the box.
What are you waiting for? Your future awaits at Guilford Technical Community College. Make amazing happen.
Back now on Triad Today, just about time for the roundtable, but a quick shout out to our good friends here at the Senior Botanical Garden. Come on out to the garden. There's lots to see and do in the gift shop, and you can rent the facility and everything. You can't rent the roundtable, though. They're exclusive to me. And on my right, with always political left, Okie Overman, the great broadcast journalist. Our special guest today, Wendy Poteet, President CEO of Shift Ed, which used to be Say Yes Guilford. We're so glad to have her here. Also glad to have Keith Cranberry, founder of Helping Hands Consultants. All right, guys. A school resource officer at Paisley Middle School in Winston-Salem recently used pepper spray to break up a fight between two students. The spray then got into the ventilation system and classes had to be moved outside. Now, in general, are you okay with SROs using pepper spray on students? Ogie.
Was it a middle school?
Middle school.
Well, some of these there's some big dudes in middle school. Sometimes it's probably necessary. I hate it, but it probably is.
Wendy?
I say no. I say we need more training on de-escalation techniques. It's not a prison, it's a school.
Talk them out of it. All right, Keith, what do you think?
I think we need more officers there, and they need to be trained on how to deal with kids, because there's a lot of big middle school.
Pepper spray or not, though?
No pepper spray.
Okay. The U.S. Department of Agriculture is proposing nutritional guidelines for school meals, which includes limiting sugars and things like cereal and flavored milk. The department also wants to reduce sodium in school foods. New regulations would go into effect in 2025. Now, are you guys and gals okay with the federal government dictating nutritional guidelines in local schools? Okay.
I am, Jim. I remember back the junk we used to get fed in school, and I'm totally in favor of that.
Ms. Poteet?
I agree. If you don't like it, bring a lunch from home.
I guess we don't want to get to the point where they confiscate the lunches, but as long as they don't do that. Keith, what do you think? It's okay for the feds to say what should be in the food?
Yeah, because we need healthy meals, because many of these kids, this is the only time they're actually getting a healthy meal is at school. So we need to regulate what kind of food they receive on a daily basis.
All right, late last month, a 14-year-old boy was competing in a bull riding event in Stokes County. When he was thrown and then trampled by the bull, he died later. Medical experts say bull riding is the most dangerous sport ever. Would you like to see our state legislature ban minors from competing in a stupid sport like this? Okie.
Yeah, that's so sad. I think I know the guy who promoted that event, and he's a good guy, and he just felt horrible about it. And I think you've got to regulate it. I mean, that's too young to be riding a bull.
I mean, you have to get a driver's license at 16 or you can't drive a car,
Yeah.
but they let a kid go out for the first time on a bull. Now, the parents sign their consent, though, Wendy. I mean, what do you do?
I mean, I have 3 kids, all athletes. I would really hate for government to tell me what I could and couldn't let my kids do. I think it's an individual choice.
Really?
I hate that for the family and the kids.
Because your boys are into football and basketball and stuff like that, and football especially can be dangerous, but you give your consent, so.
I did, and sometimes it has you pretty scared. I mean, mine had a lung injury, and I was scared to death for a few months.
Should we ban bull riding for minors?
Absolutely. Bull riding for a 14-year-old's bull. Yeah. There's no reason that you actually should be on a bull at 14 or 16. It's just crazy.
Last week, a federal court ruled that it's unconstitutional for someone with a domestic violence restraining order against him to be barred from purchasing a gun. Now, what do you guys think? Should someone with a restraining order for domestic violence be allowed to buy a gun? Ogie?
Yeah, that's common sense, Jim. I mean, anybody with a 50B against them can't have a gun. That's just common sense.
Miss Wendy?
They've already shown you their violence, so we're going to add fuel to the fire and give them a weapon to escalate the level of violence.
Right, but Keith, restraining orders don't always mean you're guilty, though, right?
I agree with that. I was going to say that. I was going to say that sometimes restraining orders are put out there and the person is not guilty. So I don't think that you can say everyone with a restraining order cannot get a gun. I just think that's too overreaching.
Yeah, but we ought to have good background checks and everything else anyway. Students at Bennett College are calling for the federal government to pay reparations for slavery. Now, we talked about reparations before on the show. These students say that the money should strictly be allocated to historically black colleges and universities. Good idea or a bad idea? Ogie?
Yeah, we've talked a lot about it, Jim. I don't see reparations getting by any kind of legislation. I think we should give some help to black colleges, but is there a different way to go about it than people just, revolt against the word reparations. They just do.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. But Wendy, what do you think?
There has to be a real conversation at some point in this country about reparations for slavery. I don't know that it should go to HBCUs or where it needs to go, but there needs to be a conversation and something needs to happen.
There's always going to be a debate about where money is divided up. I don't care what it's for, and you know this from working and heading up organizations and stuff. Let's say that it was going to pass somewhere and there was going to be reparation money. Are you okay with it all going to HBCU?
No, the country was built on the back of slaves. Let's be realistic about that. But if we're doing reparations, we're not giving the money to HBCUs. The federal government should allocate money to many schools, not only HBCUs, but some of these failing small schools so that we can educate the people in our community.
Public schools, too. Finally, the San Antonio Zoo is letting patrons name a cockroach after an ex-spouse, ex-boyfriend, or ex-girlfriend. The bug will then be fed to a zoo animal. Guys and gals, is there anyone you'd like to name a cockroach after? Ogie?
I used to know a guy named Cockroach. And we shortened it to Roach because he was kind of a.
I understand. Yeah, we don't want to. Yeah, we don't get into drug. Wendy, how about an ex-boyfriend or anybody you're going to name a cockroach after?
I won't call any names, but I tell you, if they start to name leeches, I could definitely give you a name on that one.
Keith, do you have anybody you want to name a cockroach after?
It's just one guy, man, that I talk to him every Wednesday, and we get together.
Okay, never mind. He's always looking at me when he's talking about this stuff. All right, well, that's all the time. Fortunately, that's all the time except for this. Recently, a whole bunch of monkeys went missing at a Dallas zoo. Quote, a lot of stuff we've been losing lately, said Cowboys owner Jerry Jones. It's just sports.
Oh, wow.
Cowboys fan.
For all of us cockroaches, I'm Jim Longworth. We'll see you next week.